Love those magic beeps.
Beep,
beep, beep, beep. Yo, it's your boy, Alfie King. Come in, get comfortable, get comfortable. It's the 106 mile podcast. Jesus Christ. It's the 106 mile podcast, everybody. So this is the first time we've recorded this.
Oh, yeah.
106th
time the charm.
She just having some problems getting it going, okay?
It's never been a problem before.
Jeez. I want to introduce my guest for today. Her name is Andrea. She is my girlfriend.
What's up?
What's up? What's up? What's up? We ain't breaking no bubble. No, we ain't breaking no laws. We're in a bubble, so this is fine.
Yep.
Anywho, I very humbly asked Andrea if she would be my first guest on the podcast, and she said,
"Yeah, can't wait! Woo!"
You're ready for the glitz and the glamour. You heard the show and was like, "Oh wait, I haven't even started." Wait. 106 miles Chicago, got there for dawn. Come on now, baby, you won't ride alone. 106 miles, baby. Hope you got a few stories to tell. 106 miles, baby. Yeah. So basically we recorded a load of stuff and it didn't work. The audio didn't work.
You know, when I worked in the student union, and in those meetings you couldn't clap because of, I think, people, disability, accessibility stuff. So whenever anything happened and you wanted to clap, you had to stand up and go, jazz hands. I have never felt sillier.
And that's what my podcast has always just had, lots of jazz hand action that nobody could see before the video for the applause.
It's quite difficult to convey emotion through silent hand waving.
It's a bit like when you're trying to bang when you're like 17 in your like parents' house. And you're like, and you're like, you can tell the bed's rocking, but you're like trying not to squeak it too much. Where I reckon that downstairs it's like pom 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 pom. But I mean, the problem I always had was that I have the loudest voice known to fucking man.
Do you?
We literally had an argument about this last night.
It wasn't an argument.
And it was a discussion that I lost. Anyway, and yeah, so I would be there and just be like, yo ho ho, and a bottle of rum, fucking, and then all of a sudden it must have just gone silent, and they'd have been like, oh, they're fucking shit, they're fucking, and then that was about the time it would have taken as well. Anywho, yeah, so we're here on the podcast today. We've already done this kind of once already. So would you like to talk about the things we talked about before, or would you like me to just move along?
What did we talk about before? We talked about stuff that happened this week.
Yeah,
we
talked.
And your discovery of TikTok.
My discovery of TikTok. That was so much fun. I'm going to talk about it all again. So I discovered TikTok. Now, it's one of those things that, like, so I follow Gary V, who I don't think you've ever watched a Gary V video, have you?
Who's Gary V?
Yeah, okay, so we're watching some after this. He's basically like a businessman on crack and steroids. 100, like, turn it to 1,000,000%. But the thing is, everything he says is always right and ends up being true. So he's like, oh, TikTok's going to be the biggest thing in like 3 years ago. And at the time, like, me and you had a conversation about TikTok, and it was like, I don't want to go on the next. This is all like fucking 7-year-olds.
That's because your nieces introduced it to us.
Yeah. And
like, yeah, TikTok, dance. And I was like, what are the young people saying?
What is this TikTok?
Is this like social media for young adults? I do approve. Very safe. Not like that at all.
No, it's not like that at all, as I found. However, we're kind of like that. You have the thing where it's like everybody was on, well, the MySpace, but that died. But then Facebook. And then Facebook, like, all the young people went to Instagram. And then the old people stayed on the Facebook. So there's always like this jump, right? Like bunnying. So and then the old people are going to end up being on like Instagram. So what I'm trying to say is that eventually I will have videos of my nan trying to work out how to use an iPad or an iPhone, making dancing TikToks, which I think is going to be fucking hilarious.
Oh my God. I want to make a nan TikTok. It'd be so wholesome.
Nan talk.
Nan talk. So good.
this brings me on to my next thing, is that I found out about the TikToks is that there's lanes, or as we were discussing before,
Echo
chambers, which are very dangerous bad things. But it's fine, because in TikTok land, they're just called lanes.
Which makes them less bad.
Yeah. And so we were looking at so I was into this TikTok, right? I got into this TikTok. And using the like and the subscribe buttons and stuff, I was like, I'm gonna fucking get this dialed in. So one thing that you
now the algorithm to the wall.
Now the algorithm to the wall, you know it. Now we were talking before about like when you first start going out with somebody. So we've been going out like 2 years. We've definitely been going out more than we've definitely done it, and we both forgot the anniversary again.
2 and a bit, 2.5.
What's we definitely passed our anniversary
2.75.
because it's my birthday's gone.
It's not 3, but it's probably a little bit more than 2, based on the number of Christmases and birthdays.
And this is the thing that is great about you, is that you forget anniversaries just like I do.
You can't forget something that didn't exist.
What?
We didn't have an official anniversary. It's fine.
Yeah, that's true. I was thinking about this earlier when I was going for a pee.
I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure we just celebrate forgetting it, because the first year we forgot.
It's like,
it's probably around now, isn't it?
I was thinking about this when I was going for a pee earlier. Was that when we first went on our first date together? So you're an Aylesbury hood rat just like me, and you were back in town.
Girls are back in town. Girls are back in town.
There's probably like a book fair on or something. I don't know, roller skate fucking tournament or something.
It was just after Christmas, so I was home for Christmas.
Oh, okay. And you were like, need to get me some fucking, see what hot studs are around at the moment. And then you found me, old Tommy boy. And we met up for a drink and a Watermead, wherever the pub is in, it doesn't matter, but a pub. And we met in the daytime, and the fucking sun rays went through your face, and it was beautiful, and the birds were tweeting real loud. Anyway, and I had the predicament of like, because this is the thing, this is going to be a thing. So we're currently coming out of the COVID times, right?
Yeah.
So my predictions were kind of right last week, kind of wrong. Anyway, and freedom is on the horizon. And there's going to be like the maddest dry spells ever. And then all of a sudden it's going to be Armageddon. Durex is going to go through the fucking roof.
I wonder whether people are, I don't know how it works, buying probably stock in like Tinder around now, with the preparing for like the entire population to get back on Tinder to get laid. That's what I'd do if I understood these things. Maybe. I don't know. Because
you had that time, right, where there was no point doing the Tinders because like end of last year, you're like, I have no fucking idea when I'm going to see the light of day again. I haven't shaved my legs in months. Yeah. Or my face. I don't know. And so there's no point investing all this time in people.
Unless you're just happy with sexting, because that's basically what you're signing up for if you sign up during COVID.
You know it. But now they're going to be unleashed on the world.
Yeah.
And I was reflecting over our first date. And I was thinking, after I like allured you in with my lyrical genius, or web of lies, as some say, I was ordering like black coffee because black coffee makes it look sophisticated. And I was like, maybe I'm going to make out with her. And I was like, I can't have coffee breath, that's stank breath. So I like switched to mint tea. And I think you were like, oh, mint tea. Look at this guy.
Because I was also drinking tea.
Yeah, because you were doing your whole like, I'm educated and refined. And
also it's like the middle of the day on like a Tuesday.
Yeah, true. And anywho, and yeah, it would just come across to me that I was just like, yeah, man, this whole dating game, people are going to be going in like super cold and not spoken to anybody for like months.
I did realise today, didn't I, that I've lost the few social skills that I had and just couldn't make conversation with strangers.
Right. I had a guy when I went to go and get the camera and the car, who stopped me and was just like, yo, dude, do you know where this house? And I was like, oh, what the fuck do you want? I was like, oh, I'm going to get attacked. And I was just like, oh, he's just a human being asking a perfectly normal question. And I was just like, but the thing was, I knew that I wouldn't know the answer because I don't fucking live here, right? So I was like, I leant in and I was like, sorry, mate, what are you looking for? And he was like, flat 23, room C, fucking wing F. And I was just like,
Nah.
oh, yeah, I've no idea what that is. I was like, why did I play along with the fucking...
I ain't from around here.
I'm you know. And it was the same we went to go and get coffee today. So we went to some place that I can't remember.
Fancy place.
Some fancy place. And the guy was having these conversations. And I just made up a whole fucking... Yeah, we're back from this and we're doing that and da-da-da. And I had the same thing when... Who was I talking to? The Apple man. Oh, right. So I got some Apple news. I'm going to change gears right for a second. I solved the laptop problem. So I've had this long drawn out thing where like Apple, I was like, I think my laptop's broken. And they were like, oh, no, it's not. And then back and forth. And they were like, yeah, it's definitely broken.
Mm-hmm.
And then I shipped it to like...
Somewhere secret.
Although they tell you on the UPS. And they repaired it. And then it was getting sent back. And then UPS man stole it. I mean, allegedly. It disappeared. I never saw it again.
I think they lost it.
They stole it. Anywho, I then have another fucking back and forth with UPS and Apple for another 2 weeks. And eventually, on my birthday, they were like, yeah, man, we agree that they've lost your laptop, so we're going to send you a new one. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. I was so happy. And I said to the man, I was like, can I swap the processor, please, from an i5 to the M1? It's the same price. Please, sir, please. It's my birthday.
I'm 30.
I'm an old man. And what made me laugh was the guy didn't have a fucking clue. Not a clue. I know that like he was in customer relations or whatever it was called, which sounds weird to me. And he was like, are you sure you want that one instead of that? I was like, bro, it's like a billion gigabytes fucking better than the other one. Because the YouTube man told me. And then he was like, let me see what I can do. And he was like, yeah, I got you. I was like, ooh. But anyway, when I was talking to that man, I was telling him that like, oh yeah, I've got a dog called fucking Jess and I walk it every day and da-da-da. It's your dog. Yeah. I was pulling your butt. I was like, why are you making up these lies?
I think we just spent so much time either only communicating in really awkward like Skype meetings where the communication's so weird and janky because you've all got to like make sure the camera's on, make sure this and that, and mute yourself, unmute yourself, mute yourself type thing. And then when you're actually, especially if you're face to face with a person outside of like a stranger, you're just like, I've got no idea how to deal with this. Please don't speak to me.
Please stop. Switching gears again, back to the talks. So I've trained the algorithm, like the horse whisperer, to just send me the maddest shit. So yeah, when we first started dating, I had this like Monica cupboard thing that Secrets. I mean, the thing is, you get some people that have wild secrets. And then you get people that just have like you have a problem hoarding all the books that have ever been written, ever known to man.
It's not a hoard, it's a library.
Private library.
And those are fine.
I'll remember that when I have my guitars, and I'll be like, I think I find it's a guitar. What's it called?
Collection?
Yeah, but I'll be like, it's
museum?
Like a guitar museum, but I'm the only person that's allowed in it. Anyway, and you have the Monica cupboard thing, right? What's your Monica cupboard? And my Monica cupboard was the fact that I'm entertained. This is like, I'm entertained by conspiracy theories. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I just love. It's the thing that I was thinking about this. It's when you're younger and you haven't worked out the world, you don't know what's fucking real and what's not. I.e.,
yeah,
like Santa Claus. Mm-hmm. You're like, Santa Claus is real, right? Santa Claus coming to town. Coca-Cola.
Jimmy's first conspiracy. I thought there was another thing about like Jimmy I was like, what? Jimmy the ghost. Anyway, that's like, so this leads me on to the belts, right? So you have levels to the fucking conspiracy game. You have white belt shit, which is like when you're in the playground and they're just like, hey Tom, and you're like, uh-huh. You're like, I was speaking to my brother the other day. You're like, mm-hmm. And it's like, they said to me that eventually when you try and like grab the girls, they don't run away eventually after. No, I'm kidding. He was saying that Santa Claus thing, man, that fucking... I reckon this is just bullshit, man. This ain't real. And you're like, nah, man, my mum told me this. My mums wouldn't lie. And then you go to your mum one day and you're like, your mum, man, tell me all this fucking shit. And then she just looks at you like, yeah, well... And you're just like, you motherfucker! So that's like level 1. That's where they fuck you up right there with the Santa Claus. And then what's really fucked up is when they get your siblings on side to perpetuate the lie.
Yeah.
So when it starts to suspect, you get the older siblings and like, no, yeah, totally true.
Yeah, because when you're the older sibling, they're like, you can't tell Ben that.
That's
it's
why you
not.
got to be born first.
I'll remember that next time we're through the fucking simulation. Anyway, so my thing was like, how do I tell this girl that I find conspiracy theories entertaining, but I'm not like some fucking lunatic?
Yeah.
And I think I did it terribly. No, I think I've done it fairly well.
Yeah, because also the odds were stacked against you. So I think if you'd revealed your hand too early on,
I'd have been like, yeah, man, do you know the fucking lasagna's really made out of, I don't know, history books?
I'd be like, I think I have a meeting.
Anywho, so the one that got me, so I've honed my fucking TikToks to be the craziest, wildest shit.
Conspiracy antenna.
It's so much more than I ever could have dreamed of. Because you get like the old tropes of like the world's flat, fucking the Fed is, I don't know, not real, all that shit. And then you get these crazy talkers, man. They're like young kids who don't really get it, but they come out with like some wild shit. There was one girl who was just like, did you know that the moon is really a spaceship that they brought us all here on, and then you can tell that it's a spaceship because you can tell that it's rusting. And I was like, nah, man, that's not how rust works, man. It's space. There's no. But then you get some people who are just like, yeah, space ain't real. And you're like, oh fuck, what? And they're just like, space is a conspiracy. And you're like,
levels within levels.
Levels in levels. And you're like, well, but how do you know? And they're just like, how do you fucking not know? And you're just like, because NASA showed me pictures. And it's like, yeah, the government. And you're like, what? But you know what's fucked up about it is that if you look at video from the space landings, there was like images made that were for the purpose of, so they were fake, they were staged on purpose with the astronauts in order to like use for like putting on
promo.
posters and promo. Sorry, I couldn't get the word. It was for promo.
Or if something went really truly horribly wrong and they needed to have a,
because no motherfucker's gonna know. They just pretend they just pretend they come back. Yeah, they came back. and it's so you always have this thing in the back of your head, but you're just like, is this shit fucking
legit?
What the fuck is going on? So the one that got me that I fucking loved, which I sent to you immediately, was they were just like, did you know that? No, they were just like, man, you can't believe nothing about dinosaurs, man. You don't fucking know what they're telling you, man. And I was like, okay, I'm fucking interested. And they were just like, a T-Rex, man. They've never found any other bones on a T-Rex. And I was like, okay, I'm listening. But the thing is that you automatically are like, oh, it obviously must be true. Because the guy was like, they've only ever found a skull of a T-Rex. They've never found the bones. And you're just like, okay. But I'm not a fucking dinosaur doctor. I don't know.
Paleontologist.
A Ross. And then, you see. And then anyway, so they're just like, that's because the bones were hollow. And you're just like, okay, now I'm really fucking, you got me hook, line, sinker now. And they're just like, because they could fly. And you're like, oh shit. And you're like, because they're dragons. And you're like, oh, it all makes sense now. And they came from space. And you're like, what the fuck?
I'm like, no, dragons are ruined forever.
So dragons are really space aliens.
No,
space alien T-Rexes.
Don't do that.
Now, I'm going to ask you a few questions that I've been pondering.
No.
So what was it like being a young Andrea musically? And I know that you hate this question.
Can't believe you did this to me.
Okay, let's zoom out for a minute. There you go. You thought that you were... I was actually going to let her speak for a second there, didn't you? Anyway.
Son of a bitch.
I have the same thing, right? So I'm a musician and I feel perpetual guilt when people are like, oh, what music do you like? What are you into? Blah, blah, blah. Because I've said this before. I said this last week that I was like...
You don't have any taste.
You son of a bitch. You love my music. My fucking sea shanties that I play you on the way.
I love sea shanties. Okay. Young Andrea really wanted to be a pirate. Or probably a dragon. Sea shanties, though. Sea shanties.
Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that I always blank when somebody says, what music are you into?
It is one of those questions that just like gives me the fear.
Yeah.
Like I knew when I met your friends for the first time that they'd ask me about music and two of them.
Yeah. Sorry, we had a limit on the camera. We can only do 20 minutes at a time. And it's later than I said it would be because I tell you what, being a professional engineer. So I went to music. I went to university. I went to university. I went to university to study music technology. So I should know how to plug in some microphones, right?
Yeah, you're an audio
specialist. Some would say
Techneer.
Techneer.
Engineer? Technician?
I don't know. all round musical man. And it ended up that I had to use like my phone and a fucking thing, a dongle and another thing, and a cable I found in my car. When I thought that I prepared for all this, but I obviously didn't. Anywho, as we were saying, back to the story. It's mad that I freeze up when people ask me, what's your favourite music? And I'm supposed to be a fucking musician, so I'm supposed to know. And I'm just like, and I never know what new music's out. I never know anything. Where like Louis, for instance, is like the human walking encyclopedia of any music ever. And you ask him, and he's like, "Oh, like, have you ever heard of Sarah and the Bubble Machine?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, man, I love their second album." And he'll know. He like legit knows.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen that band live.
Sarah and the Magical Bubble Machine. Anyway, and where I'm literally like, I heard a Johnny Cash album once that was really good, and that's it's like, oh, Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, and BB King. Anybody who listens to this podcast, you're going to be hearing the words Howlin' Wolf, Muddy Waters, and BB King quite a lot. Anywho, but that's the whole point of this, is to help me learn new things and all the rest of it. Anywho, so what did you listen to growing up in your like formative years?
Honestly, I just was mostly listening to the stuff that my dad was listening to and my parents.
Like gangster rap and...
Yeah, exclusively. Very explicit gangster rap. Nah. Well, my dad's Welsh, so he really likes kind of melodic singing, but he is super into David Bowie.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Bowie, the Beatles, Elton John. My mum had a load of old cassettes, and she was like super into Krista Berg.
Who the fuck is Krista Berg? I've heard the name.
Yeah. So there was a bunch of really... Oh, and also, like, they had the soundtrack for Good Morning Vietnam on CD.
Oh, my God.
So
sick.
I know all of the songs on that CD. And loads of David Bowie. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, that album. And I think her greatest hits for Elton John in whatever year that was. So that was my musical basis. So take from that what you will. Also the Eagles, which my dad had on cassette.
So what age are you at this point?
Sort of between 7 and 11.
7 and 11. Okay, cool.
But I continued with the David Bowie trend until now.
So what was your first ever album?
The first ever album that I bought myself.
The first ever album that you had in your possession that was like your album. Not necessarily you bought it, maybe someone gave it to you.
Either Kylie Minogue.
La la la
Yeah,
la.
that album where she's like in white on the cover.
Yeah, I know.
Or The Killer's Hot Fuss.
Is that the one with the white background with the skyscrapers on?
I don't think it's white. It's more like a bluey.
Was it blue and they got like skyscraper, like tab blocks?
Yeah. And that's their first album. And I bought that from a Woolworths.
I know the one.
Down south, near the sea, somewhere.
Oh, not the one in Aylesbury.
No.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
So...
Take that.
So those are the two that I had early on.
I remember that album, the Killers album. I remember sitting in front of Mothercare waiting for my girlfriend on a push bike and her being really fucking late.
And her coming out of Mothercare?
Yeah. No, she worked there. She didn't have a baby. Fuck. No, and then her just fucking, I finished at 6. And it's like fucking 7:15. I'm sat there on my push bike. Being like, what the fuck is this girl? Anyway, but with that on loop, I had a silver Sony Walkman.
Aww.
And yeah, man, that was the shit. That, and I remember when I was at school and I thought like, oh, I need to try and be happier. I don't know, obviously it was like too morbid. I don't fucking know. And I used to listen to the Fratellis. Hello.
I think I had that Fratelli's album.
And,
that was later, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was later. Yeah. No, but it was interesting that that's your mix because like now I know that you're like mad Bowie. Anything.
Not anything. There's a couple of really weird like B-side songs that he's done which are just odd. Yeah. I can't remember what it's called. I remember the music video was extremely weird. But yeah, basically. Because
I remember that when I was younger listening to Bowie stuff, like there's elements of his stuff. I mean, Oh fuck! I'm throwing a wide net here when I say that like, oh, his guitar style is like uses the pentatonic scale, which is a blues thing. I mean, any fucking rock band in the last 30 years uses a pentatonic or a minor pentatonic or whatever. If you know, that's like the staple. But what I mean is, I remember when I was young and I was discovering guitar and blues music and stuff, and I would listen to Bowie records because my aunt was mad. My auntie Kim's mad into Bowie, and I remember listening to it and being like, "Oh, there's guitar lines in that stuff he's playing that I'm like, yeah, that sounds like somebody that used to listen to a lot of blues like that." To me, it's almost like if I went on not that I'd be as good as fucking Bowie, but if I went on a different tangent, I would take that influence from. But I mean, because everything's fucking like comes from blues. Like anything that modern with a guitar that we listen to comes from blues music. So anyway, listening to that, I was like, oh, I can see the direct correlation to that, which you don't get as much. Like if I listen to the Killers, I'm not listening to the Killers and being like, oh yeah, I can see
the connection.
Yeah, do you know what I'm saying? And then, so once that happened, did you ever go through a phase of being like an emo phase or like a rock chick phase?
I kind of developed my music taste via osmosis. So I like when I met other people, I'd be like, oh, what music are you into? And then
sucking it up.
Yeah.
Like what?
Well, so I then had a much heavier phase when I dated my first boyfriend. And so
when you say heavier, what do you mean? Like
Coheed and Cambria,
right.
Cooper Temple Claws.
You've already lost like I was like, who the fucking A?
9 Inch Nails.
Oh yeah. Didn't he do a Johnny Cash song? No, I'm thinking of Marilyn Manson. Sorry, go on.
Marilyn Manson.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
We go deep, homeboy. Damn.
Oh yeah. What else? Loads of stuff because he was a drummer and really, really, really into music. And I really like music, but it's not my thing. So I don't know a huge amount about it. And I know that like, oh, I like this sound that I'm listening to. I will favorite it and keep it so that I can find it again later. But we'll never know the name of it or who it's by or what year it was written in. Just
like my Bruce Springsteen sea shanty songs.
I fucking love those songs.
I know, right?
They're so good.
Oh yeah, fucking hiddly. Oh.
Yeah. I prefer like the sort of Celtic-y ones, but there are some bangers.
There are some fucking bangers. I think that one thing that I've noticed with us, when we listen to music together on road trips or whatever, I vibe that it's kind of like couples music, as sickening as that sounds. But what I mean is there are bands that like we like together.
Like crossover bands.
Yeah, man. I know that you probably might not listen to all the time on a regular rotation. I mean, I do with that Springsteen stuff, but anyway. But it seems to be anything that's kind of that New Orleans big band. Like we listened to Hugh Laurie today, and that was very much like that. And you really like that, and that's a similar theme. Anything with like multiple acoustic instruments is pretty fucking sick. I think because you just don't hear it anymore.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like when we listen to that Bruce Springsteen album. I wish I remember what it was called. I'll have to look it up. You're kind of like, this sounds like Pirates of the Caribbean, but not.
Kind of,
I do. Yeah, and when you're trucking along, you're kind of like...
Also, my dad was in the Navy, right? So there are lots of sort of weird Navy-based or sea shanty-based songs that he used to sing to me.
Get the fuck out of here. What, the Navy still like... If you're in the Navy, the sea shanties are a thing?
I don't know whether they're a major thing, but there's definitely like... I think Portsmouth has a like festival every year, which is like a... there's like I've seen like YouTube videos and like people will sing like traditional sea shanty type songs. And I don't know whether they do it like institutionally, but definitely it's like a common thing amongst.
That's really cool.
Sailors, like sailors are still super superstitious, stuff like that. So yeah, my dad used to sing to me a lot when I was little.
Huh? Out there hunting for selkie skins and shit. No, that's really cool. And then, so from that, after that heavy phase, did it then kind of? I think it's one of the things that, especially I found, that when you're in your between 15 to 20, you go through a phase of some sort. You get really into a certain type of music.
Yeah, Bowie was a constant throughout all of that. Yeah. But I think part of that was because in my group of friends, they were really into, Green Day.
Dig it.
Green Day.
Dig it.
So, and she had like a CD player Walkman,
Mm-hmm.
and like she would share it with another friend in the mornings, and they'd be like, "Green Day's amazing." And I think, for reasons unknown, I decided that clearly this was bad music, and I would cling so much more strongly to my 60s, 70s, 80s vibes.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I'd be like, nah,
Nah,
only
man.
into Bowie now.
But it's interesting because, like you said, you have that Bowie thing that goes all the way through your music. I had the same with the blues stuff. Like that blues stuff was always in heavy rotation throughout, and it did dip sort of 22 to 27. I would say. I think it did dip a bit for me, and I went off. I think you have like maybe a renaissance later on, not a renaissance, like another exploration. What I'm trying to get to is, for me at least, I think that when I got to my sort of early 20s, it kind of just like I got stuck in a rotation of like meh. Do you know what I mean? Like a mix of things, and then I wasn't out there looking for new stuff. And did you find a similar thing when you were like, I know what I likes, and I kind of listen to that. You're not like discovering new sounds and
I think using Spotify really helps with that.
yeah.
I find it really difficult to like remember things, so I just I'm pretty sure I have a playlist that's started when I first got Spotify in like undergrad. It's like every song that I really, really liked at the time. So, but I think all of those things are very heavily influenced by the people I'm dating.
Person.
Yeah, one person at a time.
I'm kidding. Yeah.
Because it's just like you say, it's one of those things that you ask everyone, and I'm just like, what kind of person are you? What music are you into? I want to see if I vibe with it. And then I might be like, I really, really like that particular song of that kind of movement or singer or whoever, and I will probably still like it like years and years later. But there's a lot of like fluff around that one song where I'm like, oh, they also like this, and they also like this, and this is similar.
I think it's one of those things that I forget how much enjoyment I get from discovering music. And it was like when we were in the car a little while ago, and I was playing the Johnny Cash record, and you were like, "Oh, what's this?" And I was like, "Oh, it's Folsom Prison." And you were like, and it's something that we've been dating like over 2 years, and it's never come up in conversation. I've never mentioned it, although I'm like a fucking gigantic Johnny Cash fan, born the same day. Thank you very much. And
but not in the same year.
I just age real well, as you can tell. I've shaved off the face fuzz, being the 30-year-old man that I am now. And anyway, I said I wouldn't cry. I said I wouldn't make it a thing. I'd keep banging about how old I am. But anywho, and I was like, yeah, and I know like a little bit of back history to that record, more than you would know just from listening to it. And then I was saying like, oh yeah, I've got it on vinyl and and I know that's like such a pretentious fucking thing to say, but for me, I'm kind of like, oh, it would be nice to like the albums that really mean something to me in my life, to have a vinyl copy of, because it's kind of like I'm audio nerdy about it in one way, and also I think it's like it is something nice to be able to put on a record.
I think there's a reason that people have gone back to vinyl, because like everything is so digital and so sort of ephemeral now, that you want something. There's more of a desire for that nostalgia, that like physical, and vinyl is just inherently more exciting than the CD, right?
Yeah, and it's the thing that it's like, although you can scratch a CD, I mean, CD's like bullshit, right? I think it's one of those things that it's like, tape cassette is kind of cool because it's like cool, right? The vinyl's cool, but the thing with the vinyl is vinyl's super delicate. Like you've got to be careful when you take it out of the sheet and the sheath, the sword, I don't fucking know. And you're like, ooh, you got to blow the dust off of it, and you put it down. You're really careful with the needle, and it's like it's a precious thing, and you can't just like skip like you do on the CD player or repeat or fucking. Do you know what I mean? It's like you put it on, and you're like, that shit's on now. We're listening. Shut the fuck up. I can't pause it. We're listening. And whereas CDs are kind of like, I just feel a bit cringy with CDs. Not cringy, but like,
they're just not cool.
it's like plastic cutlery.
I mean, they're super shiny, but they're just not cool.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is that from a sound perspective, and I don't give a fuck what any professional sound person says. They can just fucking hang on a second. In regards to like it's really interesting. I won't go super into my understanding of it, which is probably wrong. But if you have if you record to tape, like, we get tape cassettes with little tiny wee tapes. You get like tape, which is fucking like that, and you'd have 24 track studio with the ones that made the machines or whatever. There's loads of different ones. And when you record to that, it's analog. It's like a pencil going across a piece of paper. The more you zoom into it, there will always be it's always a different kind of detail. It's not a perfect straight line. It's like, do you know what I'm saying? The graphite isn't going to be if you zoom in a billion times, it's going to be like a fat bit, a thin bit, a fat bit. Do you know what I'm saying? Whereas if you print on like a printer or a matrix printer, it's made up of lots of little, you see it printing. It's just a billion little lines that are so close together your eye can't defer. It's the same thing with recording analog. So you record to this tape and it's like you hear me talking in a room. It's like a perfect analog thing, right? It's infinite. But as soon as you introduce a digital thing, it's taking a sample. Like a camera is taking light readings, color readings of the light in the room. Enough times that we can't tell the difference. But really we're looking at loads of pictures. Now, the thing with recording to analog tape is that theoretically, there's always going to be things where you'll have filters in place and all that.
I'm kind of tapping out of this.
Okay. What I'm trying to... Okay, I'll wrap it up. I'm sorry. What I'm trying to get to is you have this infinite detail, right? And there's an argument that the human ear can only hear up to 20 kilohertz if you have really good hearing, right?
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah. But the thing is, if you have a tape machine, it will record beyond that. It will record 40 hertz, 50 hertz. We can't hear it. Cats and dogs can, but we can't. But because it's analog, that pencil going across the paper is like that infinite detail. What I'm trying to say is when you're in a studio environment and you're using all that outboard equipment, all the knobs and twiddlies and shit, that will interact with that super high frequency information that we can't hear. And so it will make equipment react differently. And it's that kind of, if you have analog from start to finish and then it gets printed to a vinyl, like that Johnny Cash album did, if you had like an original pressing, that is pure analog. And I think there is an argument to be said, like, it sounds different. And even psychoacoustically, there'll still be that high-end information you can't necessarily... It's air pressure. If you went in somewhere with like an aeroplane, the pressure's different. You can feel it in your head. So there is an argument that maybe there's some shit going on. But when you get like, I went and bought... Man, I don't know. Who?
The Who?
Nah, The Who was probably still analog. Say a rock band, Green Day... from 2012 or 2005, whenever the last album was, that was recorded in a digital studio and then it was pressed on vinyl. That's not the same thing.
I see what you mean.
It will still be coloured because vinyl does something to the bass that I won't get into, and it still will have characteristics of being on vinyl.
Different, but it wouldn't be an analog sound.
It would be a kind of analog light sound. But I still think there could be a difference between that and... Anyway, I'm sure that loads of people would say, you're a fucking idiot. That's completely wrong. But guess what? I've got a podcast, bitch. So you went through your life going through that kind of thing, with Bowie being a constant thing. And then where are you kind of like now? Did you find that you looked for more stuff during like lockdown, or were you literally just in the same thing?
That's a good question. I think during lockdown my brain kind of rotted and left this weird empty cavity behind. So I was just like it was like white noise in the background all the time. And I started listening to a lot of like white noise kind of cymbal sound bath things at night to help me sleep.
Like singing bowls and like wow, that shit.
To just fill this like weird endless silence that I was experiencing.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that fucking endless silence, because I've never had it because I've tinnitus.
Yeah.
Anyway, I found the same thing, and it was even like today when we were watching TV, and you're like, "The fuck are you watching?" And I was like, "Oh, it's just somebody walking around New York City in the middle of the night, or like in the snow, and nobody's out because of COVID," which kind of defeats the point of ambient stuff. But I noticed that I was listening to a lot more ambient stuff lately, of just background noise of things. And I even made a study with me. Go on YouTube and type and fucking search study with me, Thomas Richardson.
And Lana.
And Lana Banana, my cat. You want to see some Lana, cuteness? Go on there. Anyway, right, we're moving on. That's you out of the woods, because you were a bit like, about the music thing. What did you think to Pete's double? I've got to preface this. Sorry, apologies. I'm sorry, I got it wrong last week. I made errors. I'm a human.
Mistakes were made.
I make mistakes. And this is me trying to grow from these mistakes. The double. So last week I said, oh, I got a Tim Hortons mug here. Fuck it. Let's go double. And we'll do 2 albums a week to listen to. And I said, we got the milk and the cream. That's not how the double works.
Okay.
I thought double was milk and cream. Double is milk and sugar. That's when you say, give me the double. Or the double.
That makes much more sense.
Yeah, because I was like, who the fuck has cream and milk apart from me? Like, that's the thing I would do. But
yeah, I've just put this 500 milliliter double cream in my coffee.
oh no, the one that got me was I was in Morrison's and I was on some kind of fucking keto diet or something. And I was like, oh, I need cream. And I was really into the cream and all that shit. And
No, you were buying milk for me.
no, it was when I bought that double cream. Anyway, it was milk. Well, I thought it was milk. And I was like, yeah, I've got this stuff, babe. And it's just like blue top milk, but like extra blue, like golder than gold top milk. And it wasn't. It was like whipping cream or something that wasn't whipped.
Yeah, like industrial whipping cream in something similar to a milk bottle that was like 50p because it was like the last day.
And they were selling it in bulk. And it wasn't labelled. It was like
bulk.
scribbled on in a pen.
Yeah.
And I knew I'm not fucking touching that.
Made you quite unwell.
Yeah, I was just sat there powering through a bowl of shreddies or something and be like, it's fine. Shoving it down my throat and be like, I feel really sick now. Anywho.
There's me without any tea. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, and that's a place you don't want to be. Like when we came in the other day and you were like, oh, I haven't got any milk. And I was just like, it's going to hurt you a lot more than it's going to hurt me. So the double last week was Howlin' Wolf Moaning in the Moonlight. Is that what you said?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, God.
Something like that.
And Howlin' Wolf. Now, what did you think to the one you listened to first was Moaning in the Moonlight?
Yeah, I thought it was. Which has the best title.
It does. This is why I started on it.
Objectively.
Yes, because I thought Moaning in the Moonlight.
Sounds sick.
It does sound sick. And the cover's sick. And I thought that. So there are like his standards that I know, And looking through this, it sounded
like an album of B-sides.
I would say there was a couple of hits on there. But the other thing is, I know there was a couple of them that wasn't like the version. That was like the big version. Or no, I mean it's like with blues music you might get like they might record the same song in their 20s, in their 40s, in their 60s, like over the course of their career. And I feel that I'm probably wrong, but I feel that some of like there's Smokestack Lightning on here and some other things. Or
that one was good.
But you see that's one of his hits.
Yeah.
But there was one or two
Which is the one. Oh, I'm leaving. I'm leaving you. Was that on there?
I don't know. I don't think it is. I can't see it. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that on this one, so you have some of the hits, which would be like How Many More Years? That's a pretty big one. Smokestack Lightning. That's a massive one. I used to play that.
So fucking blind, Jesus.
Sorry, we're back. I just had to edit that there. So Andrea was saying like, "Oh, there's a song in there that's called this," and I was like, "What?" I was like, "Oh wait, yeah, there is." Fuck me. I'm just really blind. So yeah, I'm Leaving You. Is that one that you?
That's a good one.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
I thought that was
But for me, it was an album that had a couple gems, but it felt like there was a bit of filler in there.
It was all filler, no killer.
Yeah, man. Little killer.
Yeah, a couple. But
Bit of filler. Now, I'd speak no ill of Howlin' Wolf because the next album, Howlin' Wolf, oh shit, that was banging.
Yeah, but that one was banging from the get-go.
Yeah.
You didn't have to wade through fluff.
Yeah, man. And my iPad went low, so I haven't got any of the song listings on there, but it was good. And there was a lot of hit songs on there that when we were listening, when you were like, oh, that's really good. Well, this is the thing is that, so I was moaning about this before in the podcast, is that personally for me,
So
I
you're
like...
speaking on the behalf of humankind.
Yeah, no.
All people everywhere.
This is the thing is that...
Objective truth.
In some... Yeah, anecdotal opinion. In some of... So I used to be a sound engineer. Before we met each other, I was a sound engineer and did loads of blues nights for many, many, many years in a arts centre theatre somewhere. And I kind of saw the touring UK British blues bands like Nicky Moore, something in the King Snakes. I can't remember what it was called. Paul Lamb and the King Snakes. Anyway, some real like heavyweight blues people in the UK, and they were all fucking amazing. But you get this thing where it's like melodic blues, where instead of just playing like chords, so you could get some people that would be like. And like that's cool, and I did that for many years. Where like the melodic blues stuff is more like,
Yeah.
you know. And I did mention that last week, I think. But anyway, and the thing I love about Howlin' is all of the Howlin' stuff is like dum 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 bum 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 bum. There's like these melodies that will interlace with each other, and then because that when I was playing there. That's a Buddy Guy song, I think, but that's almost called the one chord, which is like the home chord, and like when I was playing there, and before that, and then I changed to another chord, the melody will do that. So it goes bum 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 bum, and it will go dum 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 bum 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 bum. So it kind of moves the melody instead of just bashing chords. Or chord bashing, as we say. And there's nothing wrong with it, and I did it for years. But anyway, that's what I find more exciting. So that's where, with some of the English blues stuff, when I was mixing sound, and it's changed since then, but was very, like, got a bit monotonous and was a bit like, you know. But hey, that's how it is sometimes. So this week's Double is going to be Big Mama Thornton with the Muddy Waters Blues Band, and Junior Kimborough All Night Long.
Yeah. Where did his recommendation comes from?
Comes from Lord and Saviour Pete or Peter. Oh shit! Oh no! I know what I've done. Oh no! Oh shit! Go on! Oh fuck!
You know when you told that anecdote about the Hunger Games?
Yes.
And Peter being a really weird name, which it is.
Yeah, it's not.
And you're like, Pete, have you seen the Hunger Games? He's like, nah. And you're like, and you said, Pete told you that Peter is spelled differently in the books, which is not true, because it's what I told you when you related the anecdote in the first place.
Many weeks ago that I subsequently forgot.
You were like, yeah, they say it's so weird, blah, blah, and I talked to Pete about it. And I was like, it's probably because it's spelled differently in the book, P-E-T-A. And you're like, blew my mind.
So anyway, I ran around that tree twice. She is sick, so that's I'm really looking forward to that. And it's got the Muddy Waters Blues Band, so that'll be really good. And next one, the Junior Kimborough. I'm really sorry for fucking that up. All Night Long. I'm intrigued. Oh, night. No, I have to fuck it up in case YouTube pick me up on that. This great audio right there. Andrea swaying in the breeze. I'm trying to think if I've done all my homework. Have I spoken about all the things I need to speak about? I had never mentioned, and people have messaged me and said like, you never say what the fucking email address for the podcast is, so I'm supposed to email you. And I'm like, oh yeah, because normally I'm like panicking that I don't know what I'm saying or what I'm going to say, and I forget. So I have a email address. It's helloI'mAlfieKing@gmail.com if you want to email the show.
For the I'm Alfie King.
There's no apostrophe.
Gotcha.
It's I am. No, it's hello, I'm Alfie King. Yeah, hello, I'm Alfie King @gmail.com. Yeah, there's no apostrophe. No apostrophe.
Good to know. And
you can just email me and tell me I'm a terrible person. You can email me and give me albums that we should check out. You can email me and ask if you want to be on the show. And, who knows? Because, Anywho, one last thing I will touch on before we round out this evening is that you are a PhD student and overall smart bean.
Yeah.
About many things.
Got pieces of paper and stuff.
Learned about all the injustices and, kicking ass. And I'll ask you more about that another time. But I thought that I'd give you a bit more backstory because Andrea will be a regular appearance on this podcast as at the moment you're the only person in my bubble. But and also like
so you're going to have me back. Yeah.
I mean, I have to talk to the producers and,
I think I know a guy.
You think you know a dude?
Yeah.
Peter. I hope. I would never pressure him, but I hope that one day he is a guest on here.
I think he'd be great on a podcast.
He doesn't even know what they are. He's like, what are those things that people are doing?
It's radio, but for young people.
Without the
not
music.
Not on the radio.
It's like Radio 4.
But not on the radio.
But you can say fuck.
And you can listen to it at any time.
Anywhere.
Yeah. On your phone. Wherever you go.
Listen to the BBC iPlayer app. No, I'm kidding. Anywho, right, I'm gonna play it out. Oh, and also next week I'm gonna have a segment. We're building segments here, people.
I told it.
Sorry. I need to just address my audience. So we're gonna have my microphone technique has been appalling on this episode as well. I'm gonna try and do a regular segment on the show where we look at new blues music, and either kind of so when gigs happen again and stuff. What I'm gonna try and do is have like a gig list of where you can see people play and all that stuff at the end of the show, and also kind of like new albums that are coming out. And things to be aware of for people that like blues music, and as things open up again, hopefully maybe one day I have some sort of portable podcast situation like at the back of a van or something, and I can try and interview other bands and blues people, because I think that would be cool. The dream. But at the moment the dream is like being allowed in a house with somebody. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So baby steps, people, baby steps. Yeah, I'm gonna play us out. So if you could hold this up, I'm gonna play the thing. Yeah, thank you for listening to the 106 Mile podcast. My name is Alfie King, and this is Andrea, the lovely Andrea, microphone assistant, and orderer of very good curry that we had during a break. But anyway, 106 miles Chicago, gotta get there for dawn. Come on, brother, you won't ride alone. 106 miles, baby. Hope you got some stories to tell. 106 miles, baby. Fuck. That wasn't that bad.
Bravo.
Yeah. Thank y'all. See you not tomorrow. Goodbye.